So for this week's main topic, yes, it is very, very summer out there. If you've been in Florida, I mean, it's hot all the time in Florida. But man,
most of the country is going through.
That is true. That is true. It's not just Florida. It's everywhere across the country. It has been very, very summer across the country. And we kind of thought we'd go through and discuss some summer fun that's going on at Disney. And one of the things we wanted to do is kind of go over some of the new things that have happened since maybe last summer. Then just if you have a trip planned this summer, there are going to be maybe some things that you've heard about or maybe some things that you've forgotten about that are new at Disney. And then we're going to kind of go through and pick out some of our favorite things that maybe are kind of summer specific throughout the parks. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, Michelle, why don't you go through a list of some of the things that are kind of relatively new within the Disney parks at Walt Disney World.
Okay, yeah. And the way we approached this was really just taking a look at everything at Walt Disney World that has, changed or been reimagined or added since if you had made a trip last summer. So I kind of grouped this into different categories. So the first one would be like attractions or experiences. And of course, we've talked about a lot of these already all on our show, but just kind of a recap.
Just a refresher.
Right. Again, if you're planning a trip this summer of 2024 or later in 2024 and you haven't been for a year, what are some of the things you can look forward to?
It's basically always summertime here in Florida, so you might as well just plan on it being summer.
Pretty much. Obviously, the first one on the top of the list for attractions is the newest attraction or reimagining of a prior existing attraction, and that's Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And, a couple things I wanted to point out. And I don't think this is a spoiler, but if you don't want to know what the story is about it, then just fast forward like about 15, 30 seconds. But basically the story on that ride is you are helping Tiana look for musicians for a big party. And part of that includes getting shrunk by Mama Odie. And it's, You'll notice that in the sceneries of the attraction as you're on that ride. But anyways, getting back to something else that I thought was pretty unique about this, there's a lot of Easter eggs and things, but one of the things that I did hear about, and I researched it to confirm it, is, and it kind of reminded me of Walt, how Walt approached things. We know Walt really wanted always everything to be the best. And, we've talked about in the past how he struggled with his brother on wanting 24 karat gold to adorn Sleeping Beauty Castle and how he made that happen. And so similarly with this attraction of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the Imagineers kind of, I think, took that and tried to do something unique as well. And what they did was they had a custom handcrafted weather vane created by Louisiana's master blacksmith, Darrell Reeves. And his art is throughout the city of New Orleans. He's a third generation blacksmith. So I just thought that was such a special touch to add. They didn't need to. Who would even notice this, right? But the authenticity of it, the uniqueness of it, I thought was just great that the Imagineers infused that into this attraction.
There are so many, once you get to experience it, there are so many little touches throughout the attraction itself, but the queue is also wonderful once you get into the main building and some of the different things involving Tiana's family and friends and the community and New Orleans. And there's just so much fascinating stuff to look at. I mean, I actually would wish we had more time in the queue. It's rare that I want more time in a queue. But when we went on it, because we did the special D23 party, our first time we got to linger a little bit in the queue, but not as long as you would think. But after that, it was like a walkthrough. So we hardly got to spend time in some of the queuing areas. So didn't really get to check it out as much as I'd like. But I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities coming up for you all to go check that out and really get everything that's in there. Because there's going to be things you pick out in various visits through that queue for sure. And then the attraction, I picked out new things in the attraction. We wrote it 4 times. Every single time I picked out things I didn't see before.
Right. So All right. Some other new things over at Magic Kingdom is, something that's returning very soon, which is the Country Bear Jamboree, which will be the Country Bear, I think, musical jamboree, if I'm not mistaken. That's a reimagining of the OG attraction that was at Magic Kingdom when they opened, and I think it's great that they're putting some new life into this. It's to me, it's yes, it. Some people felt like it wasn't as interesting to go back to. I always felt nostalgia to it, so I'm glad to see the same characters are there, just getting new attire and new songs to share with the guests that come in there. So
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved, just like you, I'm very nostalgic for the classic attraction version. Loved it. I didn't think it necessarily needed to be changed, but I also realized that maybe it wasn't a place where outside of just getting some air conditioning and sitting down for
Right.
10, 15 minutes, people weren't exactly clamoring to go to. And I don't know that this change will do that either, but it's going to do a little bit more of that. Updating, I don't feel can hurt it. And I find it interesting that they're going to kind of update it with classic Disney songs just
Right.
done in kind of a country style.
Right, country
I
western,
can't
yeah.
wait to hear what that sounds like and how the animatronics react to
Right.
it. And I'm looking very, very forward
Yeah,
to
yeah, me
checking
too.
that show
Me
out
too.
for sure.
So, it also kind of an activity that, especially for the kids, that can be done at Magic Kingdom is the Smellephants on parade over at Storybook Circus, and that's where the different elephants that are throughout that area have also new attire on what they're wearing and associated scents with that, and you can get stickers and stuff.
Yeah, I think that if you go through it, like you can get a booklet and go through, and
Right.
once you find all the Smellephants, that you get a sticker. I think our great friend Justin Monorail,
Yes.
I think he put out a YouTube video where he did just that.
Right.
He went through and did all the Smellephants on parade, so you might want to check that out and see what that experience is like, or just wait and do it
Yeah.
yourself. Either way.
Right. Some other new attractions, the Journey of Water, inspired by Moana over at Epcot, and that has really a lot of great, unique, interesting things. It's a beautiful area, and I always see kids are really enjoying it, especially. It's, they really are digging the different hands-on experiences.
Talking
there.
about a summertime
Yes.
refreshing experience. That is definitely one for you. I mean, it can get a little crowded in there, but man, if you want a place to get a chance to cool off a little
Right.
bit and still have some fun and enjoy the park, that's a good spot.
Yes. Over at Disney Hollywood Studios, Star Tours now has been updated to include some newer characters like Ahsoka.
And Andor, Cassian Andor, and I think the Mandalorian makes
Yeah.
an appearance. Now, when they first came out, they were just doing those specifically. Now, I think it's more peppered in with their classic
Right.
lands. So you may get it, you may not, depending on it's the luck of the draw, just like it used to be the luck of the draw for whatever you might get. So just know that going in, that just because you're going on Star Tours doesn't mean you'll get one of those characters for sure.
Right. But at least there's an opportunity
Yes.
there. So, and Rock and Roller Coaster that had been closed for refurbishment for quite a while is now back, actually kind of ahead of schedule. So that's exciting and another
Yeah.
opportunity to do an attraction over at Disney Hollywood Studios.
I don't think they did much to it other than just
Right.
freshen it up a little
Right.
bit. But yes, it's still the same classic storyline that you've known from Rock and Roller Coaster,
Right.
Aerosmith going to the concert.
Yeah. It's always good to know that they're making sure the roller coasters are safe.
It's true.
And there's actually now some new characters for meet and greets since last year. Over at the new Communicore Hall at Epcot, there's the Mickey and Friends. So what that meet and greet is, Mickey will always be there, but the friends may change throughout the day as you go. So that's an opportunity there. Over at Animal Kingdom, Timon and Rafiki are now available for meet and greets there. And Joy has come onto the scene from Inside Out and Inside Out 2 over at Disney Hollywood Studios.
Good.
So,
Yeah, she was parked over there, and over at Epcot for the longest time, and now she's moved over to a new space to get to meet her.
Now, there's a couple new shows that have been added this year or since last year. And the first one, which we spoke about most recently that I'll mention, is the Celebración Encanto. That's running now through September 6th over at the new Communicore Plaza, Epcot.
And I talked about how it's a simple show, but I feel like it's a really, really good show for what kind of Epcot is evolving into.
Right. And it's great for the kids, for sure. Also new at Epcot since December is the Luminous, the Symphony of Us, their nighttime show, their fireworks show. So that's something that you can check out. And over at Disney Springs, they have the new droid show, Disney Dreams That Soar. So some
drone show, droid drone.
Droid drone. Yeah, sorry.
R2D2 flying around.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Doing holographs. It's not what it is. It's a drone show.
It's a drone show, yes.
But it is, we haven't seen it yet. Yeah. Everybody raves about it.
Right.
We're trying to figure out how we can get out there to go see it, hopefully soon.
Right. Now you heard me just mention about the new Communicore Plaza and Communicore Hall. Epcot has obviously had that renovation as well as World Celebration. World Celebration is spectacular as well. If you haven't had a chance to go see Walt's statue, it's a must see. It's just remarkable, and it just gives you such a wonderful feeling.
It's got some great ambiance to it. During the day, it's nice. There's some wonderful places to sit. There's some places to charge your electronic devices there if you need to. It's a nice place to have a drink and relax and just take it all in. And at night, it's absolutely glorious the way they light the whole area up.
Spectacular.
Including, of course, Spaceship Earth. But it is wonderful. It is they did a wonderful job of creating a very warm, welcoming, beautiful space in that area for sure. Now, Communicore Hall, we've talked about it. It's not a lot going on there right now. We'll see here in a few weeks when Food and Wine opens up in August, what happens with that.
Right.
But for right now, it's a great place to just kind of get away and get some air conditioning. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
There's not a lot going on, but the air conditioning is really, really good.
It really is great. Yes. Now, there's been some other opportunities. I didn't know how else to classify these things. But first of all is the return of all-day park hopping. So if you have a park hopper pass, then you don't have to now wait for a certain time of the day to go park hop. You can do it any time of the day.
You do need to go to your first park first.
Right. So you do have to hop.
You do need to actually go there, scan in, and then you can just turn right back around and go to the next park if you want.
Right. But you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to wait for a certain time of day like you had been for a while. We saw the return of the Disney dining plans, and so you can add that to your resort reservation if you're staying on site. You can do it as a package if you're paying for the room. If you're a DVC member on points, you can add it to your reservation online or by calling Disney Vacation Club reservations. And more coming up soon, I was going to say more recently, but coming up soon is the Lightning Lane Multipass, which we discussed in our last episode, but that's also new and something that you can take advantage. And, it definitely will help on not having to wake up at 7 a.m. on your vacation day to,
Unless you want those individual, the queue, the virtual queue stuff. Yeah, you still have to get up for 7 a.m.
Right. But just for your regular planning, you don't have to do that. So, I don't know. Quite a few things have changed there, and I think I've left out a couple things.
Oh, I'm sure of it. There's plenty more things that have gone on in the last about a year out at the Walt Disney World Resort. But yeah, plenty of new stuff to check out that if you haven't seen it before, and More coming. We're about a little over a month away from D23, the D23 Expo. I'm just going to call it that. I know it's changed, but the D23 Expo, and I'm sure there's a lot more announcements
it's gonna be
happening.
nuts.
We've already heard from several people like it's going to be crazy. So,
Yeah.
Can't
Well,
wait
when
to
we
find
were
out.
at the Tiana's D23 event, we saw Michael, who's the head of D23, say that it's going to be big and a lot of big announcements.
He asked if we were going to be there, and we said,
I
no,
know.
unfortunately not this year. It just didn't work with our scheduling. But
First D23 Expo we're going to miss in a long
he
time.
said it's going to be it's going to be something.
Yeah.
It's going to be something for sure. So that's cool.
So, what are your 3 favorite of these?
Well, Tiana's Bayou Adventure for sure. There's no question about that. I guess it's not all Epcot, but World Celebration, I think is one of my favorite areas.
Agreed.
Just because we are people now where we like to go to Disney and have nice spaces to relax and enjoy. We like
People watch.
Yeah, have a cocktail,
Right.
and just take it all in. And that is a wonderful place to do that. You
Right.
know, I think it doesn't matter what time of day you're going. It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
and
great.
they do have characters out there too
Sure.
for meet and greets and things. So.
Yeah, Pluto came right up to you the other day.
I know.
when
Yeah,
we
you
were
can
out
have
there,
some
yeah.
spontaneous, sometimes some
Never know.
spontaneous experiences. Daisy is usually out there as well. So
You never know what
Very
what
cool.
might pop up out there.
Yeah.
And Journey of Water is just so nice.
Right.
And like I said, it gets a little crowded, but when you can get in there and just kind of play around with it and get it, especially when it's hot as it's been, get that little refreshing
Right.
mist and and everything else. And like you can get really wet if you want to. You can get not so wet if you want to. It just depends on how you want to interact with that
Right.
water out there. But
Right.
it's beautiful and it's a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I kind of would mimic a lot of what you'd say. Definitely World Celebration and what that has turned out to be is just like you said, it's more the ambiance and that experience there. And I also think Tiana's, I think they really went above and beyond my expectations of what they included in there. I think the opportunities, like the all-day park, the conveniences, I should say, like the all-day park hopping really is, I love that because it used to be kind of tough. Especially if you're trying to make a lunch reservation and what was available would be when you couldn't hop and,
Or it was questionable on whether you can get in there in time and get to your reservation.
Right, things like that. So I like that convenient. And actually, even with the Disney dining plans, I think I'm kind of really itching to try that now. I'm just
We almost did it in our last more lengthy stay.
Right,
It was
right.
4 nights.
Yeah.
But, we almost did it, but we backed out and decided that that's not exactly how we wanted to approach that trip. But,
Right. Yeah. We
sometime in
wanted
the
certain
future.
flexibility there, which this does provide some flexibility. But, if you're really trying to be budget conscious and get the maximum value of it, then you do need
There's a strategy involved.
Yeah, you do. And we may do a show or something on that because there is a way to, make sure that you're getting, maybe even more for your dollar than if you were to just buy each of those
Right.
meals and things. So I would say that.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So now that we've gone through all these stuff or some of these stuff, I'm sure, like I said, there's probably many more things that we missed that are new that is happening throughout the Walt Disney World Resort. We decided we kind of do a summer day at Disney and pick out some of our favorite things. Like if we were going to build a summer day at Disney at Walt Disney World, probably, I don't know if Michelle had anything Disneyland, but a summer day at Disney, what would be some of the key elements? Like what attraction would we want to go is for a summer feel? What show would we want to check out for that summertime feel? What dining location and especially and dish with that dining location would we like? And what drink, what beverage would we enjoy for that summertime feel? So we're going to kind of go through all those different categories and list some of the key items that, strike us right now is like, this is summer. This is a summer day. This is the things we would do. So we'll go through that. Michelle, where do you want to start here?
All right. Well, in true Hyperion Adventure podcast style, I do have A and B here.
Of course you do. Why wouldn't you?
So I do have Disneyland as my A, and I'll go into that. And selections for my B would be Walt Disney World.
Okay. Maybe I'll add some Disneyland stuff to mine as well as we go through, since we're doing that. I might mostly Walt Disney World, but I might add some Disneyland stuff as well. So go ahead. Where are you actually going to start?
So at Disneyland, the park I'd like to visit, well, would be either one, but since we're picking one of each of these, I'm going to say Disneyland Park. And the attraction I would obviously want to try there or go there is the Matterhorn bobsleds. Just because of its, the fact that it is unique. It's only there at any of the Disney parks throughout the world. That's the only one that has the Matterhorn bobsleds. And just kind of the nostalgia of that attraction. For a restaurant, I would have to want to go to Blue Bayou, which is within the Pirates of the Caribbean. I would definitely want to see about getting optimal seating close to the attraction, actually. And they have a really great menu there. The thing that shouted out to me was it's plant-based. It's their pistachio lemon basil pasta. And that comes with asparagus, squash blossoms, which I always love squash blossoms. Pea tendrils and cherry tomatoes in a pistachio basil pesto. And I thought, oh, that just sounds so yummy. In terms of a beverage there over at Disneyland Park, we know there's, minimal alcohol, there's a lot more restrictions there. So if I was at that restaurant, I would just have one of their wines. They have a great wine list there as well. So that's what I would do. And then for the show, obviously, World Color One, I'd park hop over.
Oh, wait a minute. You're in one park. Now you're going to switch over to a different park? Wait a minute.
Yeah, park hop, because it's convenient there. And I would do that one up in style with the dessert party, where you have actual wonderful desserts and beverages in a reserved, not just a reserved area, but with seating. So. Yeah. I would do that.
It's worth the splurge. Yeah.
Right. If I didn't have Park Hopper, then I would definitely love to stick around for the fireworks, the Pixar themed fireworks show over at Disneyland Park, because that's really special and unique, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go ahead and go through some Disneyland stuff, and I'm doing most of this off the top of my head because I didn't make notes on this, but we'll just go ahead and go through there. And since you picked Disneyland Park as your park that you're going to go to, I guess I will go ahead and
I have a B. I have Disney World too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, okay. I'm talking from the Disneyland Resort.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'll go to Disney California Adventure Park, and then for my attraction over there, let's see. I think for my attractions, I'm going to do Radiator Springs Racers.
Yeah.
Because I think you get that nice indoor dark ride element, and then you get that wonderful outdoor portion of it. The nice kind of ride through Radiator Springs there as well. And then the speedy end, where you're racing, and that's kind of fun as well. So that'll be my summertime attraction out there. As far as dining locations, there's lots of choices I could go with. There's nothing wrong with the Lamplight Lounge.
Right.
The Lamplight Lounge brunch is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
But I'll stick with that every time. I'm going to go for a summertime favorite. I'm going to the Corn Dog Castle, and I'm just getting a corn dog.
Nice.
And I'm walking around the park with a corn dog because that feels very summer to me.
Yeah.
Feels very summer to me. I'll go along with you as far as a beverage and just maybe go to the Sonora Terrace with a nice glass of wine and sit there and people watch in some shady spots.
Yeah.
Because it's a great area to people watch and take in a nice beverage as well. And then for my show, if I'm going to stick in that park, I'll go with World of Color 1 as well, because one, we haven't seen it yet, so I really want to check it out, but we've loved every World of Color there's ever been, and so we can't wait to see this one as well.
And right now they actually have also a pre-show to the world that is surrounding Inside Out too.
So that would be my summer day at the Disneyland Resort, primarily over at Disney's California Adventure Park.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, so now back to Walt Disney World. Let's go ahead and go through your list through Walt Disney World.
Okay, I would go to the OG park, which is Magic Kingdom, and I would take a Big Thunder Railroad as my attraction that I would need to see. Now, in terms of restaurant, I would love to go to Cinderella's Royal Castle. Haven't been there in eons. And if I went this summer, I would want to have their crab top catch of the day, because I think I've always found Disney's catch of the days to always be great. I've never been disappointed. This one comes along with smoked Gouda grits, braised green beans, and brown butter Meyer lemon emulsion. So
Sounds good.
and for the drink, I would actually do one of their flights. And they have a celebration champagne flight. And that they use Enchanté champagne, which is exclusively sold at Walt Disney Resort. And for this particular flight, they serve it 3 different ways. So that, to me, would be like super special. I think I'd actually love a bottle of that so I could have the bottle that, it says Enchanté champagne on there, but the flight sounds pretty interesting.
That does sound good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for show, actually, because we haven't seen the drone show, I think for the evening, top it off going over to Disney Springs and catching that show.
Very good. So I went and approached this in a different way. I approached it with jumping all over the place, but we'll just go originally with your first, and I'll mention the other things that I would have jumped to afterwards, but I'll stick with one park just to kind of go through it to begin with.
All right.
I would go to Epcot, and I would do for my summer attraction, I would do the Journey of Water with Moana, because I think that's refreshing. It's fun. It's interactive. It's just going to be a good time, a good summer splashy, fun time there.
And you don't always get wet. You choose how
wet you want to get. Yes, that's absolutely true. You can still have fun over there, even in that 1 week of the year where it's actually chilly here. You can still have some fun over there and not get completely soaked, or you can get completely soaked if that's what you want to do. Completely. So then I would head over to World Celebration, and for my dish, I'm going to have that cheese arepa over there from the Festival Favorites booth over at Communicore Hall, brand new.
I love one right
there.
now.
And I'm going to also have that passion fruit daiquiri with it, because they're a great combination. It's a very tasty drink. It's a wonderful drink, and very, very refreshing for a nice summer day.
Yeah. It's funny because the first time that I ordered that, I thought, I don't know if this is good to have this cocktail with this dish, but it did go nicely.
It really is. It's a really good combination. And the chicken arepa with the guacamole is wonderful as well. As like we mentioned, I think it was on last week's show. The perfect combination is half and half. If you can split this with 2 people, do half of one and half of the other, because one's a little sweeter, one's a little more savory, which is funny because it's weird that the chicken one is more sweet. I don't know why that was, but that's the case. And then you have that cocktail to go with it. Beautiful combination. It's perfect. But if I'm only going to have one, I'd have the cheese one, because I think I like the savory one just a little bit more. I
like that one better too. Yeah.
And then for the show, I'm going to watch Luminous at night. If I'm going to stay in Epcot, I'm going to stick it at what is a really, really great show. And watch Luminous, because I think it's spectacular. It's great. Now, what I was originally thinking is that I would just kind of jump all around the place, but I was still going to go with Epcot with Journey of Water. But then for my dining location, I'm just going to beam over to Geyser Point Grill, because I think that is a perfect summertime destination. It's outdoor. It's beautiful. It's got wonderful views of Bay Lake out there outside the Wilderness Lodge. And they have some wonderful food. And, I think when you're summertime, a burger sounds pretty good during the summertime. I mean, why not their bison cheeseburger with bacon, sweet crispy onion straws, Mary and berry sauce, and garlic aioli sounds pretty darn good to me. Yep. Then I'm going to buzz on over to the Polynesian and go to the Oasis, lounge, bar and grill there, for what is an amazing summertime drink, and that is the Voyager, one of our favorites. Parrot Bay coconut rum blended with cream of coconut, pineapple juice, and layered with, Dole Whip and blue curacao. It is delicious, refreshing, fantastic, perfect cocktail for a summer day.
Yeah. And one thing to point out, I do know that some of the Dole Whip drinks that you can get like at Tangaroa Terrace, for example, over at Disneyland, and
over at Trader Sam's or
Right. Yeah.
or kind of actually the what is it, the booth that's out there. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of it. But
Yeah, I'm spacing.
yeah.
But so this drink that Tom's mentioning that he wants, it's a cocktail. The Dole Whip is blended into it. It's not like, okay, you get a Dole Whip with some syrup around it or, some alcohol around it. It's the Dole Whip is included.
It's an elevated
blended.
pina colada.
Yeah.
With the Dole Whip, taking over and giving you that nice pineapple punch
Right.
to it. It's and with a little blue curacao. It's a beautiful drink. It's a flavorful drink, and it's a very, very refreshing
Yes,
cocktail as well.
sure.
Then I'm going to finish up the night by buzzing back over to Disney's Hollywood Studios and going to Fantasmic
Good idea.
because, the outdoor venue, it's just a really nice show to kind of sit back on a
Right.
summer evening and watch what is really a tribute to like almost everything Disney in
Yes.
some way, shape, or form.
True.
It's just a really, really wonderful show. I think that's how I would cap off that night.
Nice.
If I'm not going to do Luminous or Happily Ever After, which Happily Ever After would be any time of year. I
Right,
could go see
yeah, me
Happily
too,
Ever
me
After.
too,
But for
yeah.
summertime, Fantasmic just kind of calls out to me.
Sure. Sounds good. I love your choices.
We would love to know your choices. What would make up your perfect Disneyland or Walt Disney World summer day if you were to kind of pick and choose from those categories we went through? Hit us up sometime here, whether it be through social media, whether it be the Gmail account, whatever. We would like to share, hear what yours are, and maybe we'll share them in an upcoming show.